till I die. I gotta stay fly till I die. I gotta stay fly, yeah, till I die. Hey, call me the juice so you know I'm a stunt. Riding in the car with some bump in the trunk. Tone them and laugh and you know it's a pump. Breaking down the good green, rolling the get on pimp tight, girl, say I'm the main. Ice on the wrist with the ice in the chain. Ride through the hood, yeah, I'm dripping the grain. And I'm sipping the same while I'm changing the lanes. I feel tight cause I'm choking the vision messed up cause I'm working the lane. Messing with a D-boy, riding them big toys. Make your man gal wanna get on my team. She gotta give it up before she get in my car. I ain't Denzel, but I know I'm a star. Cause when I'm in the club, I be back in the bar. In the VIP bar, and be buying the bar.
What is up, guys? Welcome to another episode of Maximilian Must Know. In this episode, we're going to focus on the fragrance Iris 39 in the brand Labo from France. And I've known about Labo for some time now. I picked up a candle from them some years back from their tiny boutique in Barney's. They also have a boutique in Soho as well. They're perhaps best known for a couple of things, mainly their minimalist design, their city exclusives, and they're pouring essential oils and blending them with alcohol and water right when you buy the fragrances. They hand pour them into these neat little bottles that you see in front of you, and print your name on them as well. You can see on this bottle, let's see if we can get this biatch focused. It shows that this was poured for me on 5/20/21, 2013. I don't know why it's not focusing. Let me see. Yeah, 2013 for Max by Alex, and it's got the same thing on the box as well. 2013 5/21 for Max by Alex. So that's sort of one of the things that they do. Let me refocus. And then that's, you know, those are the things that I think they're best known for. Now, a lot of people will tell you that the name and expiration date is a gimmick. I think both are pretty cool. The expiration date isn't on the fragrances now, I guess, but they are on the candles. So this is a older candle that I have. You can see it looks pretty beat up. It's their Santel fragrance, and it will tell you that it was fresh until 11/2/2011, which is about a year and a half ago. But you know, I still have it. I only use it for special occasions. I think it still smells great. Almost even better than when I got it. It's like aged a little bit, and it kind of lends something to the Santel scent. So, you know, I don't want to call it a gimmick, but I just want to say that to me, the candle still smells fantastic. So, not necessarily paying attention to the expiration date in this situation. I don't think the expiration date was on the money. But who knows? You know, who knows in other occurrences. Now, I read Luca Turin's book where he rates perfumes, and in a lot of ways, I sort of do consider it a Bible, although everyone does have their own nose and opinions. And he does review some Labo fragrances in the book, and the first one is a Dallas exclusive. And he asked Labo for a sample, and they came back to him with, quote, "We don't believe in critics and perfume. We believe that writing about perfume is like dancing about architecture." I thought that was a great answer. Now, Luca Turin did get samples anyway. I guess when he told them no matter what, he was going to write about their fragrances, they figured that they might as well be nice about it and just get the samples to Luca Turin. And he gave some of their scents very nice reviews. Now, Labo's a newer company. They started up in 2006 when Fabrice Pinot and Eddie Roski, both formerly of Giorgio Armani Perfumes, decided to open up their own house and really focus on fragrances and not so much on PR games and advertising and the branding. They started out with 10 basic scents with basic ingredients like rose, bergamot, vetiver, jasmine, patchouli, etc. And each fragrance has a number next to it representing the number of ingredients in each fragrance. Prices are not obscene. You can get a 50 ml of fragrance for $145 or 100 ml for $220. And again, you can get the main fragrances online or at any of their outposts, and their city exclusives are sort of the highly coveted fragrances for Le Labo. Paris has a vanilla one, New York has a tuberose one, Tokyo has Gaiac, London has Pavra, LA has Musk, Chicago has Bay Rose, Colette in France has a fragrance called Another, and I believe that San Francisco is soon getting their own scent called Lamette. and Dallas had a Litahide, and then Dallas, the Le Labo in Dallas was in a Barney's that closed. So Le Labo offered up that scent for a pretty inflated price online and at all their outposts for about a month or so. Now the good thing about Le Labo is that if you pick up one of their scents in these beautiful bottles, you can get them refilled for I believe a 20% discount, which is nice if there's something you really like. You only have to pay that premium price for the first bottle, and then you can get it refilled at a discount. Now, besides fragrances, Le Labo also does have the candles that we talked about, as well as shower gels, body lotions, shampoos, massage oils, conditioners, soaps, and even detergents. So if there's a scent you really like, you can really enjoy that scent in a variety of different ways. And the scents are very minimal and very much about the main ingredient, which the scent is named after. I really appreciate the simplicity and quality of the Le Labo line, which really does have its own little niche carved into the niche fragrance universe. So before we talk about Iris 39, let's look at the packaging and bottle. A little disappointed with the box. As you can see, it literally is a cardboard box with some tissue inside, and just as I said, a nice label that's printed up when you get it and applied, that lists the ingredients and just sort of tells you about the perfume life and how you should store it. And again, it will have your name, when it was poured, and who poured it for you. And in the bottle, this is the 50 ml. As I said, the 100 and I believe $45 joint. Very nice and heavy glass. It has a heavy weighted cap. A decent atomizer. Nothing crazy. It works. You know, it's nothing like a Creed atomizer, but I would say it's not as bad as a Amouage. It's just sort of somewhere in the middle. It works well. You can't complain about it. So packaging is minimal. Package is decent. I mean, I'm a fan of the bottle, not so much of the actual box. Now, I went through most of the fragrances at the Le Labo counter. I went to Barney's where Alex really took care of me. I went through the entire line, and I was sort of drawn into Tuberose, but because it was the New York City exclusive, the price we were looking at was $290 for 50 ml or $440 for 100 ml, and that was just too much for me. If I'm going to be paying close to $500 or over for a scent, it's really got to blow me over. It's got to be something like Richwood from Xerjoff, which I know is more, or an Attar from Amouage, or maybe even like a Royal exclusive from Creed. Tuberose ain't commanding that price for me, at least. I like their rose scent, and I do want a rose scent, but I think the cumin in it was just too much for me. It felt a lot like a Jean-Claude Ellena scent to me, and taking something crisp and clean as rose and dirtying it up with some spice and rougher notes. I also really like Bergamot 22, I believe it is, but Cody, aka Drakdoc, has really covered that scent, and I was looking for something that I could take, review, and sort of something that wasn't really that covered on YouTube, I guess I would say, something different. And I like Bergamot, you know, I did, but as I said, I wanted something different. So my decision came down to either Neroli or Iris. Now, Neroli is really nice, and Alex gave me a very generous sample to take home with me, but I went with Iris 39, both because I really like it, and it doesn't get the YouTube love that some other Le Labo scents do. Now, Iris 39 was released in 2006 with the rest of the initial Le Labo fragrances, and the perfumer behind this is Frank Vogel, who's done scents for Avon, Xenia, Gant, Hilfiger, etc. And Iris is really something that I started to like when I started to like Dior Homme, which features a very prominent iris note. Iris can be very rich, creamy, and buttery when it's done correctly. It really is a gorgeous smelling flower, and notes in Iris 39 are going to be iris, lime, patchouli, rose, yin-yang, musk, ginger, violet, cardamom, and civet. And when it opens up, you really get that creamy iris note. I'm not sure if this will make a lot of sense, but in Dior Homme, the iris seems buttery to me, and in Iris 39, it seems creamier. It's almost like a sweet cream of carrot soup in the opening, and there's a sweetness to this. You get some nice lime and rose. I really can't smell the patchouli, although I've heard that this scent has more actual patchouli in it than Le Labo's patchouli scent, which is good but not my cup of tea. It smells very smoky, like almost like a barbecue sauce. But this smells nothing like that. This is creamy, floral, and sweet, and that's going to turn a lot of men off. But I like these sort of scents. I like Amouage's Seal and Jean-Paul Gaultier's Fleur de Mail. I think a men's floral scent can be very sophisticated. and really sort of give off a confident vibe from the wearer. But women could definitely wear this too. This is a true unisex scent, as most of the offerings are from Labo. Now, that opening really does sort of go for a good, I'd say, hour. And then for the rest of the day or evening, you've got this great, almost animalistic and rooty, dirty vibe to this fragrance. You definitely get the civet and the musk mixing with the freshness, and you're left with something very strange in a good way. I think the perfumer did what I would call a brilliant job with this fragrance. You hear the term well blended thrown around a lot, especially with perfumes and in whiskey or brandy talk. And what does well blended really mean? To me, it means taking separate elements or tastes or smells and making them and putting them together to make something that is more than the sum of their parts. I'm reading Jean-Claude Ellen's book Diary of a Nose on my iPad, and he talks about how when people smell Bulgari's Vert, they always think that there has to be green tea in the scent. And he finds it funny because there is no tea in that scent. But you see, that was masterful blending, and that's what it does. It creates an illusion. It magically leads you to believe that something is there that isn't. It challenges your senses and your realities, and I think that this scent, Iris 39, is incredibly well blended. It's not just iris, it's lime, it's cardamom, it's ginger, and all the other notes. And when you first look at those notes, it could be very easy to say, what the hell is this perfumer thinking? They can't possibly all jive, and they do jive here, and they jive well, and it makes perfectly good sense. Projection on longevity, I'd say, are both above average. I get 6 to 8 hours on my skin from this scent, and people around you will definitely smell it. There is a high concentration of essential oils in this scent, and so you need to be careful with the atomizer. I think 2 sprays is probably enough with this. 1 in the chest and 1 on my shirt is what I've been doing, and I'm picking up that creamy iris note all day long. This is a great spring and summer scent, but nothing that I would wear when it's really hot and humid out, because that creaminess and touch of sweetness could definitely become too cloying. The neroli is something that I think would be great in that type of weather and will probably be my next scent from Labo. I'm giving this a 7 out of 10. It is brilliantly done. It is something that I would put in a permanent rotation if I had to drop down to 10 cents for the rest of my life. Probably not. I probably wouldn't do that. Because Dior Homme is my favorite iris-based fragrance, and you can get double the size of that for half the money of this. But this is going to be a spring mainstay for me for many years to come, and something that I probably reach for on summer nights as well. Anyway, that is this week's episode of Maximilian Must Know. As most of you probably saw, we didn't have a grooming episode this week. I was a little under the weather, dealing with some issues, but hopefully this week we will have a grooming show, and then a summer flanker fragrance show next weekend, and then the week after that we're going to be doing a sample shopping, where we go over some new samples, and I'm actually going to have a show sponsored by a website that I'm working with on the sample thing, and again, offering you guys a discount if you want to pick up some samples. You'll get a coupon code for the website. So that is this week's episode of Maximilian Must Know. Stay tuned on Wednesday for the grooming show, and next Sunday for another fragrance review. We'll be doing a pretty nice summer flanker. So thank you so much for watching. Have a very safe and pleasant Memorial Day.
What they like, make a couple of no's, a couple of purple, purple, purple.